Jenna was a college sophomore staying alone in her family's suburban home while her parents were on a weekend trip. Having the house to herself was a rare luxury, and she was enjoying a quiet evening watching movies in the living room. Around 11 p.m., her cell phone rang, an unknown number. Normally she'd ignore it, but something compelled her to answer. "Hello?" she said. There was no response, just the sound of slow, heavy breathing. "Who is this?" Jenna demanded, irritation replacing her initial curiosity. The breathing continued, now accompanied by a faint whisper she couldn't quite make out. Before she could say anything else, the caller hung up. Dismissing it as a prank call, Jenna returned to her movie. 10 minutes later, her phone rang again. Same unknown number. This time, she let it go to voicemail. A notification appeared. One new voicemail. When she played it back, the same breathing filled her ears, but this time the whisper was clearer. "I can see you on the couch in your red sweater." Jenna froze. She was indeed wearing a red sweater and sitting on the couch. Her eyes darted to the windows. All had their blinds drawn, but one near the kitchen had a small gap. Heart racing, she ran to close it properly, then double-checked all doors and windows were locked. As she finished securing the house, her phone chimed with a text message from the same number. "Why did you get up?" "I was enjoying watching you." Trembling, Jenna called 911. While waiting for the police, another text came through. "They won't get here in time." The police arrived within minutes, searching the property thoroughly. In the bushes beneath the kitchen window, they found cigarette butts, food wrappers, and a small notebook with details about Jenna's routine. When she left for classes, when she returned, and what rooms she typically used when home alone. The stalker was never caught, but Jenna learned later from neighbors that a strange man had been asking questions about the girl who lives in that house for weeks before the incident. Michael had just moved into his first apartment, a garden-level unit in an old Victorian home converted into separate flats. The rent was surprisingly affordable, which he attributed to the somewhat dated interior and the basement location. After his first week there, Michael began noticing odd things. Food from his refrigerator would disappear overnight. Items he was certain he'd left in one place would be in another when he returned from work. At first, he dismissed these occurrences as simple forgetfulness due to the stress of moving. One night, Michael woke suddenly at 3 a.m. to the distinct sound of his shower running. Still half asleep and confused, he assumed he must have left it on, though he couldn't remember showering before bed. As he approached the bathroom, the water shut off. He froze in the hallway, suddenly wide awake. The bathroom door slowly opened, revealing a thin, disheveled man he'd never seen before, wearing Michael's clothes. For a moment, they both stood in shocked silence before the stranger bolted past him toward the small utility room that housed the water heater. Michael, overcome with panic, ran the opposite direction out of his apartment and called the police from his car. When officers investigated, they discovered a carefully disguised access panel in the utility room floor. It led to a crude living space and a crawl space beneath the house. The space contained a mattress, food wrappers, and several items missing from Michael's apartment. The police determined that the previous tenant had been the building's maintenance man who had created this hidden room. After being fired months ago, he had continued living there undetected, coming up into the apartments when residents were out or asleep. He had keys to every unit and knew all the building's secrets, including how to move silently through the old structure without alerting anyone to his presence. Sarah was a single mother who had recently moved with her 5-year-old daughter, Emma, into a charming older home in a quiet neighborhood. The transition had been difficult for Emma, who began complaining about the man in her closet shortly after they moved in. Sarah dismissed these claims as typical childhood imagination combined with anxiety about the new home. She would dutifully check the closet each night, showing Emma there was nothing to fear before tucking her in. One morning over breakfast, Emma mentioned that the man had told her his name was Paul and that he used to live in the house. Concerned about her daughter's persistent imaginary friend, Sarah gently explained that they were the only ones living there now. "He doesn't live here," Emma said matter-of-factly between spoonfuls of cereal. "He just comes at night through the ceiling." That evening, while Emma was having her bath, Sarah heard a distinct thump from upstairs. Assuming something had fallen, she went to investigate but found nothing out of place in Emma's room. As she turned to leave, she noticed something unusual. A thin line in the ceiling she hadn't observed before. Standing on a chair for a closer look, Sarah realized it was the outline of an attic access panel that had been painted over. It wasn't in the main hallway where most attic entrances would be, but hidden in the corner of Emma's bedroom closet ceiling. Sarah called her brother to come over, and together they forced open the painted shut panel. In the attic, they discovered a makeshift living space with a sleeping bag, empty food containers, water bottles, and a small collection of items that had recently gone missing from their home. Most disturbing of all was a small hole that had been drilled in the ceiling directly above Emma's bed, allowing someone to watch her while she slept. The police investigation revealed that a man named Paul had indeed previously lived in the home. As a tenant, not an owner, as property records showed. He had been evicted months before Sarah bought the house, but had apparently kept a key and had been living in the attic intermittently ever since. Security camera footage from a neighbor's house confirmed a man matching his description would occasionally climb onto their roof at night when the house was dark. Paul was arrested 2 days later when he attempted to return to the attic.